Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome and welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Wednesday, June 24th. Thank you for joining us once again for our final week of curiosity and the art of enjoying life. As Annette mentioned yesterday, or was that Monday? Days are all blurring together. Whichever day it was, we are finishing up our theme this week and we'll be starting our new theme on Monday. For our continued lightning round of reflection questions for the art of enjoying life. I answered all the questions on the first day. You answered all the questions yesterday. And then today, it's my turn in the hot seat.
Looking at joy and curiosity. What activities naturally spark your curiosity, Ada?
What naturally sparks my curiosity is when I watch movies, then I want to learn how they did the special effects. I know this is probably one of those things where you say, I could have thought all day long and never guessed that ever in my life, but it's fun to learn how they did that for all the movies that I enjoy.
You're right. I never would have guessed that. And I think it's really nice. You have parts of your life that maybe you're not broadcasting everywhere, but that you do have a lot of interests, and they're varied interests, from gardening to now special effects in movies to many personal development resources that you share with me almost on a daily basis. So what naturally sparks your curiosity? What activities? I like your answer, Ada. That's cool. Remember, the whole point of us going through this together is that we want you, our listener, to be asking yourself these questions. Because this is an inventory that we're taking this week. We're asking a number of reflection questions because sometimes we can just keep our nose to the grindstone, stay in that same old path, and we want to work our way out of the path so that we can have that enjoyment of life, that curiosity of life. Next question. What have you always wanted to learn more about?
I mentioned this to you the other day. I think this was another out of left field answer. I want to learn about beekeeping to make my own honey.
You did say that. She started with the garden and now she's into beekeeping.
Well, okay, I guess I don't make my own honey. I steal it from the little bees that I care for. But I think that would be fun. I like these activities where they're like gardening. Yes, I can go and buy my vegetables at the store, but it's so cool to put them in my salads or on my burgers or anything that I eat and say, this came from my garden. I get such a charge out of that. That does light me up. So the next thing on the list that I'd love to learn about, and this could be in a number of years, I don't anticipate that my time would allow for much beekeeping, but that's the next on the list.
Well, you don't know how life will be. What about this next one? What did you enjoy doing when you were younger?
Drawing and art.
Drawing and art.
Mm-hmm.
And where do drawing and art show up in your adult life?
I do all the graphic design for our work. I make all of our worksheets, all of our handouts, and it's fun, but it's not the same. There's definitely a end goal that I have in mind whenever I sit down at the computer for something like that. It's about what is this worksheet going to look like? And then you and I obviously coordinate and discuss what do we want this to look like and how do we want to help our clients with these handouts or with the worksheets. And it's different. I remember when I was a kid, I would just go and draw just because it was fun.
Don't you think both things can be true, though? You can enjoy creating things for work and then also make time to simply be with your drawing pad and your pencil or your colored pencils or your paint. It seems like that's what makes work fun in a lot of ways, is when we can bring some of these little joys into our work.
You're totally right with that because that does scratch that artistic itch that I have, what I do for our work. Though there is this difference when it's the joy of just because.
The joy of just because. Okay, last one for you today, Ada. What interests have you abandoned because you have become too busy?
Well, okay, art and drawing. I can't justify, I'm working on my sleep these days, so I try not to stay up late anymore. And then I get so frustrated because my me time, my fun time is then cut away. Though I will say I feel better. I think I show up at work better. I think I feel better all in my life. But then I say I'm too busy for that.
You're also more enjoyable. I mean, that's just the truth.
That's what
The
you
more
said.
sleep you get, and if you eat and sleep, you're much more enjoyable.
I feel more enjoyable, so I will agree with you. Another interest that I have abandoned, I wanted to learn a foreign language like Spanish, but then that takes a lot of time and dedication and consistent practice. And of a piano, there's another one. I got a lot of these things.
So, what keeps you from doing them? And don't just say just because you have to sleep, because that would be kind of a cop out. What keeps you from doing some of these things? Are you truly too busy, or do you need to learn to prioritize a little differently?
There are times when, yes, you are right that if I prioritize my time better, I more than likely could fit these into my schedule. There's also other interests that I'm working on currently that are taking my time, and it's not work, it's not sleep, it's just enjoyment. There's the garden that I mentioned earlier. There are our chickens. Those are a lot of work and a lot of fun. I will never understand.
They take a lot of work, though.
They take a lot more time than you think. And we asked somebody and they said, oh, yeah, it's just 10 minutes a day. What in the
Oh,
world? That is so wrong. And this person had way more chickens than we
she
ever
had
thought about.
32 chickens. We have 14.
I know. So over double what we have. And she said, oh, it just takes 10 minutes a day. It's not a big deal. So we went in, oh, this is not going to be a big deal, a big time commitment. Boy, was she wrong. And boy, were we wrong. It takes a lot more than 10 minutes. So I'm working on things like that because you got to give them their pine shavings. You got to obviously collect their eggs, make sure they know that they're loved and cared about. So they're a lot of work. My little doggy Marcus, he's a lot of work too, and he's not work, but he loves his little cuddles, and I like to give them to him so he knows how much he's loved. So I would say this question, so let's keep it clear. So what interest have I abandoned because I became too busy? You could be too busy with really good things, and then an interest can take a side seat.
I have to say something about all of these questions that we came up with about looking for curiosity and joy. I believe attitude really is everything. We've always heard attitude is everything, and sometimes that would make me angry, but I really do believe attitude is everything. You can be cleaning out a chicken coop and be having a wonderful day and have joy in your heart. You can be grading papers as a teacher. You can be doing whatever you're doing in your career. And yes, with one attitude, it can be monotonous and, oh my gosh, can't wait for 5 o'clock. Or you can dive right in and try to do your very best and try to have connection with your coworkers or your clients or whatever the case may be. It really is, for me, what is our attitude? Is our attitude one of joy? Is our attitude one of curiosity? And if so, we can enjoy anything we're doing.
Speaking to that, over last weekend, I did some cleaning in my bathroom. And you're going to say, well, how can cleaning your bathroom be fun? Well, I'll tell you right now. I decided to start cleaning out my drawers and my bathroom cabinets. And I had a big old bag of products that were old and expired and that I didn't use that I was throwing away. And then I look at it. Oh, it feels so nice and wonderful. It's clean. Everything is sparkling. And that was just a fun time. I listened to music. I made a whole day of it, and it was great fun.
That's what I mean. Some people could hear cleaning out cabinets and they would go, oh, no, I don't want to do that.
Younger me would have said that.
But it really is the attitude that you approach things with that determines whether you're going to find joy. And the curiosity part is, how can I make this fun? How can I look at this from this place of accomplishment? Whatever the case may be. But I think it's really important that we are intentional with our attitudes.
So I answered the questions. Now it's your turn. I'll say them again one more time since Annette shared them. I'll share them now. Here are our lightning round reflection questions for today. What activities naturally spark my curiosity? What have I always wanted to learn more about? What did I enjoy doing when I was younger? And what interests have I abandoned because I became too busy? Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.